let's go to Hanoi, Vietnam. We have Olivia Enos of the Heritage Foundation joining us. Thanks, Olivia.
Thank you for having me.
You are on the ground where all the action is taking place, and our question for you is what exactly broke down that we had a massive change in plans in the situation and the itinerary, ultimately leading these two nations to no deal, and then also how we can bridge the gap, because the sticking point was sanctions and sanctions relief. How do you bridge the gap between denuclearization and what Kim wanted, the sanctions relief?
All of us were really blindsided in Hanoi and very shocked that no deal was reached today. But I think ultimately the president made the right decision. North Korea was making an unbelievably untenable ask. They were requesting all sanctions be lifted. And it sounds like they were only committing to some sort of partial denuclearization. Not only is this an untenable definition, but it's actually illegal. U.S. and UN sanctions require that North Korea have complete, verifiable, irreversible dismantlement of its nuclear program, and other sanctions also require that they make improvements on human rights, including closing political prison camps, and these are all predicated within the sanctions themselves. So the reality is that there was no way the U.S. was going to come to a deal where they would agree to lift all sanctions if the only thing North Korea was agreeing to were minor elements of its nuclear program being dismantled.
Olivia, we have so many questions right now, and hopefully we're going to get more answers once Air Force One takes off from Vietnam. Reporters get a chance to actually debrief and kind of follow up with the president before he goes to sleep. But, you know, we were thinking that because of all these talks that have been going on in Washington ahead of this summit that were kind of directed by Mike Pompeo, that there was going to be liaison offices opening. There might be discussions of economic development. You know, the president talked about the fact he wanted to see North Korea, that North Korea could become the next Vietnam. None of that language, none of it was actually brought up with President Trump and Mike Pompeo in that, again, solo news conference that was supposed to be a joint news conference between the two leaders. What does that say to you?
I mean, traditionally, when you come to a summit, the agreement has already been hammered out. There have been lots of closed-door meetings. There's already sort of been at least the basic framework of an agreement laid out. But it seems like we came to the summit here in Hanoi without that basic framework and with sounds like not enough agreement from both sides. I think that this should be sort of a lesson to both sides that if you're going to have a public summit that grants legitimacy, for example, to Kim Jong-un, you have to know that you can achieve the goals at the end of the day. That being said, I do think it was wise for President Trump to walk away from what North Korea is asking at this time.
Yeah, and I do want to correct myself, Olivia, that press conference was always supposed to be solo with President Trump. But Lauren, go ahead.